Hi everyone, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to the Tactical Insight Show. Now once again it is just me on my own today. We will be back with Graham on Tuesday to be discussing the Everton game, but we've got to discuss this Man United 3-2 defeat at Old Trafford. Really disappointing because I've got to be honest, I think in the grand scheme of things, you look at the whole picture and you take everything into context, I think we deserved something from the game, but we didn't get it. And a lot of it was our own fault, a lot of it was our own mistakes. But a lot of it is also what we're doing when we are in the ascendancy, when we are the better team, when we are looking like the side that might go on and win the game. We find a way to almost take our foot off the pedal or let the team back in, and often sides aren't having to work particularly hard to do it. So that's the frustrating thing. That's really what we want to break down today. We're going to look at a couple of things Arsenal did well, but really the biggest talking point today is what Arsenal aren't doing in attack and why we can have so much of the ball and have so many opportunities, and yet those opportunities really aren't the best. We're talking about maybe 2 or 3 really good chances across the whole game, despite there being some good football from Arsenal. So we're going to break all that down. But of course, the place to start with is the match stats. Now, you got the scoreline there, a 3-2 defeat. Those are the numbers that count. But we did outshoot United at outshoot. We did outshoot United at Old Trafford, 17-14. Obviously, they had a couple more on target. But we had more of the ball. We came to Old Trafford and dominated possession. That in turn means more passes, and we were a little bit more efficient on the ball by 1% or so. But I think what's quite interesting about that is, by the way, when I say efficient on the ball, I mean in terms of our pass accuracy, but I think we can all agree United looked more like scoring when they attacked than we did. Now, what I think is quite interesting about the way Arsenal approached the game, Mikel Arteta, he said in his post-match comments as well, Arsenal were very brave. Arsenal went to Old Trafford and, I say brave, I mean you could look at this United side and say that they were always there for the taking, but we went and deployed a high press really early on. We took the game to them. We had them pinned in their half. We then go get the goal, which I'm going to discuss in a sec. But tactically, we were really suffocating them, and I think I was going to say pretty impressive actually how we took the game to them, and we weren't really fazed by the whole Ranierick's in the building and Thursday night, you know, under the Old Trafford lights with this new manager, a new era for United. I think we did very well to, I mean, I'm using the term silence the crowd as a bit of a, just a bit of a phrase you say, but I think from the people who were there, they would say the way Arsenal started the game, Old Trafford wasn't bouncing. We were imposing ourselves. We were playing our football, and United looked really poor. So I credit the team for doing that. He sticks with Tavares at left back. Odegaard's playing as the number 10. And we're going to talk about how those decisions obviously impacted Arsenal come the end of the game. But we started okay. Actually, more than okay. We started well. We get the goal. It's a foul from Fred on De Gea, so absolutely the goal should stand. Fair play to the refs. They get the decision right. And then they play some good football. I wish Ben White got a bit tighter to Bruno in the box. I wish we'd just been a bit tighter to everything that was going on in the penalty area, but United then get a goal back. The goal I really want to analyse here is United's second goal. It's the goal that for me, it screams the word naivety, and I think it shows you a little bit what people like Turkish, Robbie, others as well here in the studio were saying, that Arsenal, this young Arsenal side, definitely lacks something, definitely lack a little bit of, I don't know what it is, a little bit of being able to kind of understand the occasion, understand the moments you commit, understand the moments to be bold, and then realise where maybe you just need to shut up shop and just be a little bit more careful. And I felt at times Arsenal didn't really manage that right, because when we were in the ascendancy, we start well, we get the goal, and then for whatever reason we sit back. We suddenly invite United onto us. And it's happened on a few occasions now. You think against Crystal Palace, we get the early goal, and then we sit back and we're just soaking up the pressure. And you start wondering to yourself, is this an instruction from Arteta? Is this a tactic? Is it that he doesn't feel Arsenal can sustain this across 90 minutes, this high pressure, this intensity? What we did in the first 20-25 minutes, he doesn't feel we can do that throughout the whole game. And that's really disappointing. So United get the goal back because ultimately I feel like we've taken our foot off the pedal and invited them back in. Then they get the second goal. And I'm going to break it down here on the tactical pad, because what's really frustrating about this goal is it feels like an error. It doesn't look like an error. It looks like very good football from United because Dalot plays a lovely ball into Rashford, he's driving at goal, it's a lovely cutback for Ronaldo. And when you're watching it, you're thinking, yeah, it looks smart, it looks efficient, you've got quality players, you've exploited us. But I think it's poor from Arsenal's perspective defensively, and this is where I want to pick on our defence a little bit. So Maguire's got the ball, and he just pings one all the way out to Marcus Rashford. That's who he's aiming for. And Tavares has read it, and he's going to try and intercept, and he does, and he gets it into Smith Rowe. Now, in fairness, he's read the situation, and at that point, actually, I'm going to take it back a little bit. At that point, Arsenal's defence, especially from that left side, Tavares through to Gabriel Ben White, they're on a good line. But Tavares senses he can win that ball. It's a good interception, and as I said, he eventually ends up here where he sort of takes a touch or touches it into Smith Rowe, and then Smith Rowe's got it. Now, it's a loose touch from Smith Rowe. He doesn't quite have it. It's not really his fault. You could say maybe Tavares should be a little bit smarter and just get rid of it. Maybe he should realise that the situation isn't completely under control. Get your defensive duty right. That's the kind of thing Kieran Tierney would do. And that was one of the big decisions. Does Kieran Tierney come back in for this game? On the evidence of some of the moments, maybe he should have. But I think Tavares had a decent game, in fairness to him. But he doesn't really have control of the ball. He's trying to give it to Smith Rowe to control. Smith Rowe doesn't really have control of the ball. And then ultimately it falls to Dalot, who after a touch plays it into Rashford. Now what's key to this is, as it's happened, Tavares, as he's touching into Smith Rowe, his instinct is to go forward. Again, let me bring it back a second, show that properly. So he goes to intercept. Sorry, I'll bring it along a little bit more. Here we are. He intercepts. As it's coming to Smith Rowe, you watch Tavares, he goes. He is thinking, Smith Rowe's got it. There's an opportunity at counter-attack here. There's an opportunity for me to get forward. But by this point, Dalot's nicked the ball and played in Rashford. Rashford's driving at goal. Gabriel has to come across. And now I'm looking at the penalty area here and I'm thinking, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mr. Sue himself. I was calling him Suzanne on the watch-along. But you knew it was coming. He's inevitable, that man. But you're looking, you're thinking, Ben White, a bit like the Bruno goal, there's one man to just keep an eye on. Get close to him. Don't let them get a shot away. And Ben White has a little bit of history. By the way, I thought he was quite good against Man United. But he's got a little bit of history for dropping too deep, for trying to almost protect the goal more than he is trying to stop the shot in the first place. He's more reactive than proactive. And again, he's not really picking up Ronaldo here. Partey's not getting back, but I don't think you can blame Partey. And when the ball comes into the box, it looks like it should be dealt with, but it never is because they're not close enough. They're dropping back and Ronaldo puts it into an empty net. And I think that was just an example of our naivety defensively where, you know, after getting that first goal, where we were on the front foot, we were playing brilliantly, we should have maintained what we were doing. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, so maybe it wouldn't have planned out that way. But I'm watching it and I'm thinking, we're on the front foot, maintain it. But then once they get that goal and they go into the half-time with their tails up, the better side ending that half anyway, I think you're thinking, right, first 5-10 minutes of the second half, just don't do anything silly, don't commit too much, don't leave open space, and that's what we did, and they exploited it, and that was ultimately on Tavares and Smith Rowe not dealing with that situation. Now, a few people said in my fan cam I was harsh on Tavares for blaming him for that. The point is, the ball's been pinged across and he's not dealt with it. Whether he should put his foot through it and clear it and you go again, whether he should understand that once he's won the ball he's got to retreat back into his position, whether it's Smith Rowe's poor touch, whatever it is you're looking at, it's not dealt with between the two of them, and they've picked us off, and that is incredibly disappointing. And I thought from a defensive perspective, that was where Arsenal, you just see the mistakes creeping in. The second, obviously their third goal comes from Odegaard. Really poor decision making. To slide in like that and bring Fred down is hugely disappointing. So you can look at, you look at them, two goals right in front of, almost in that 6-yard area, thinking, come on. They're not getting loads of men in the box. Deal with who's there. Get in front of them. It's something that Gabriel and White have typically, but Gabriel may be better than White. We're normally quite good at defending that part of our area, but we weren't against United. And then the penalty is incredibly disappointing as well. But, and it's a big but this, you can get caught up in everything we did wrong defensively. You can get caught up in the mistakes we made, and maybe some of the opportunities we conceded, the penalty. I think there's a real issue going forward. Now, I guess Tactical Insight Show is about explaining what went wrong. It's about breaking it down and telling you what we should have done. I think in terms of managing, the end of that first half and the beginning of the second half, we sort of explored that. but I think there's a real issue in terms of our ability to create chances. Now, remember the stats I just mentioned, right? 17 shots on goal, 8 on target, more possession, more passes. Keep that in mind, because some of the stats are about to pop up are slightly worrying, I think. Let's start with talking about Thomas Partey in midfield, who I thought had a really poor game. We didn't lose the midfield battle, but we didn't win it either. I don't really think anyone, McTominay, Fred probably the best of the lot, really, which is worrying in itself, and he was poor for the first goal. Partey and El Neni didn't really impose themselves like they did a year ago, and that's the disappointing thing. I think we were hoping that they could come and recreate what they did, and they didn't. Now, I've got some stats here looking at Partey, but mainly Arsenal's players in terms of possession loss, losing possession in the game. Now, Tomiyasu and Tavares lost it both 17 times, the most of any Arsenal player on the pitch, and from fullback areas, that's to be expected. It's typically the fullbacks that lose the ball the most. It is typically, especially in this Arteta system, Tierney, when he's on the pitch, always in the high 20s, or at least easily in the 20s for losing possession. So that doesn't surprise me. But two players there who are meant to be crucial to what we do on the ball and our creativity and our build-up and sustaining pressure, Partey and Odegaard, both losing the ball really frequently, which is disappointing as well. Then you got our two wingers there, though I thought Martinelli and ESR did some of our better stuff. Let's have a look at our worst pass accuracy now. Tomiyasu, Smith Rowe, below 80%, but Thomas Partey, again, with Martin Odegaard, in the top 5, or should I say the bottom 5, for pass accuracy. Really, really disappointing. If we can't get these things right in our midfield, we're never going to control the game the way we should, or at least sustain control. I know we're not Man City, but you know what Man City did at United a couple of weeks ago? That sustained pressure, constantly on the ball, maintaining that tempo, maintaining that energy, maintaining their foot on the ball. And I think there were moments, like for 20, 25 minutes we did, and then we can't again. And I think you've got to look to our midfield for that. Disappointing again. Now we're going to move on from midfield and we're going to look at what's happening up front. And I think this is a really telling stat. If you look at Arsenal's front three and Man United's front three, this is how many passes they each received. Sancho comfortably the most with 37. But then you've got the other four, Ronaldo, Martinelli, Smith Rowe and Rashford, all between 26 and 29. So you've got a solid 26 plus for 5 of the 6 forwards there. Aubameyang received it 17 times. Aubameyang and Partey were the two names I really heard being criticised, really heard kind of on the timeline, in the interviews, wherever it was. It was those names. They were the players that people were really disappointed with their showing, because they're two senior players. They're two players you expect them to step up. Now, I looked at Aubameyang. I thought the work rate was there. I thought he tried. But on the ball, in attack, he offered absolutely nothing. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. I think he offered absolutely nothing. Now, he's receiving the ball only 17 times, 9 fewer than Marcus Rashford, who didn't have a good game, and then over 10 fewer than every other forward. For a player whose role is to drop deep, pull wide, try get on the ball, we want our strikers to be involved in the build-up. That's really disappointing. And especially when we did have 17 shots, we did have 56% of the possession, we did have more passes than Man United. If we have more of the ball, if we have more attempts, then how on earth are his passes received, are his numbers in terms of receiving passes so much lower than the other forwards in the game? That in itself is worrying. So I wanted to explore a little bit what the players around him are doing, more specifically Martin Odegaard, who, credit for the goal, the equaliser, lovely finish. I thought he could have had an assist if Martinelli takes his opportunity in front of goal better. Maybe that's a goal and assist for him. But ultimately, he kind of struggled through the game as well, not really having a massive impact. And again, these numbers show it. Now, these are the least frequent pass combinations throughout the whole game. For Martin Odegaard, I believe, yeah. Martin Odegaard to Aubameyang occurs 0 times. Aubameyang to Odegaard only once. Tavares to Odegaard, that pass combination happened once. Odegaard to Saka happened the once, although we can forgive that because Saka came on late. And then Smith Rowe to Odegaard happened twice. Odegaard, our number 10, is not combining with key players. You look at Tavares, okay, Tavares to Odegaard, fine, you're not going to expect that too much. But Aubameyang and Odegaard, to combine once between them that whole game. Odegaard and, okay, we mentioned Saka came off the bench. Smith Rowe and Odegaard not combining either. These are really worrying numbers as well, because again, we had the shots on goal. We had the ball. We were passing it a lot. We had a lot of possession. We looked a team that at times were not dominating, but certainly looked more in control at times than United. And our number 10 is not combining with key players to try and make things happen. Now, it's disappointing because when I look at it, I don't really know who I'm blaming. Is Odegaard not finding Aubameyang because the runs aren't being made? There were times where I'm screaming at the TV thinking, Aubameyang, make that run, go down the wing, provide an option, come short. There are also times where I'm looking at Odegaard and I'm thinking, it's sideways, it's safe, it's backwards, it's, come on, show us a bit of invention, show us a bit of magic. If the pass isn't on, why don't you try beat a player or two and make that space? Why don't you try commit a man or two? Maybe that's Arteta's system. Maybe Arteta's system and the way he wants us to play, you know, restricts creativity, restricts flair, restricts being open and expressing yourself and trying things. So while this show here is all about explaining what went wrong tactically, I want to put it to you guys. Why is it that we can have so much of the ball and yet create pretty little in the grand scheme of things? Sure, there were moments from set pieces. I thought at times we looked a little dangerous, especially at the beginning of the first half, beginning of the second half. Sure, we scored 2 goals at Old Trafford. There was some, like, you know, Aubameyang was through a couple of times, should have done better with his efforts. You know, granted. But really, there should have been more from the amount of possession we had, from the high press we deployed, and the good things we did in the middle of the park. It's a difficult one. You know, who's to blame? Is this Arteta's system? Is it Aubameyang not turning up? Does a new centre forward, you know, fix a lot of these issues? Is it Martin Odegaard? Should our number 10 frankly be giving us more? Is it a midfield problem? If Partey and Elneny stamped their authority in midfield, I thought Elneny was better than Partey, but if Partey stamps his authority in midfield, are we creating more chances? He was non-existent at Anfield. Wasn't really in the game at Newcastle either. So these are the big questions, guys. I don't know. I guess my final question is, why do Arsenal sit back so much after going 1 up? Is it because the psychology of football takes over? United need a goal and suddenly they have to get into it and they have to react to the crowd and react to the moment? Or is it because Arsenal want to protect what they've got? I don't know, guys. This is probably the one tactical insight show where I'm providing you the data, I'm providing you some key numbers, but I'm not really here to necessarily give the answers. I think we need to explore it more, and I think this month where we've got Everton away, West Ham at home, we've got Southampton at home as well, we've got Wolves. 3 of those sides I've just mentioned are the kind of sides that Arsenal have dropped points against over the years. And I think we're going to find out, you know, what comes out of that. You know, will Aubameyang start firing? Will Odegaard start creating chances against those slightly inferior sides, but still good sides? I don't know. We'll see, guys. But anyway, that's been the Tactical Insight Show. It's a short one, a brief one today compared to our normal show. As I said, we don't have Graham, missing him lots, but we'll get him back for the Everton game as well. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys, because we're straight into Everton. I think a bit like this Tactical Insight Show, we don't really have the time to even digest it properly because the football is coming back immediately. Premier League starting immediately as well. And then Arsenal on Monday night against Everton. We'll see. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining. Leave a comment. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll be engaging with you. Thank you so much for your support, because without you guys, you know, we're not here. We can't do what we do. So thank you very much. I'll see you next time.